The noise stops. That is the exact moment the war begins. All day long, you orchestrate a masterpiece of distraction. You answer emails with surgical precision, you laugh at jokes that barely register, you scroll through endless feeds of other people living their lives just to drown out the heavy, static hum of your own. You keep moving because stopping feels like stepping onto thin ice. You tell yourself you are just productive, driven, ambitious. But deep down, you know the truth, you are running. You are fleeing from a quiet house and an even quieter mind. Then night falls. The city outside slows its pulse, the notifications finally dwindle to a flatline, and the ambient sounds of the world fade into a terrifying, suffocating vacuum. The silence arrives not as a comfort, but as an uninvited auditor. And in that stillness, the armor you spent 12 hours polishing begins to rust and dissolve. You sit on the edge of your bed, staring at a patch of moonlight on the floor, and the questions you spent all day dodging crawl out from the dark corners of the room. Where did the years go? Why does the person in the mirror feel like a stranger who just happens to know your name? Why does a crowded room feel like exile, and an empty room feel like a verdict? You try to reach for your phone again, but your hand feels heavy, weighed down by an invisible anchor. The battery of your defenses is drained. There is no meeting to prep for, no deadline to chase, no crisis to manage. There is only you, naked of all your titles, achievements, and coping mechanisms. This is the quiet violence of modern existence. We have mastered the art of staying busy so we never have to meet ourselves. We fill every second with audiobooks, podcasts, background chatter, and microtasks, terrified that if we drop the juggling balls for even a single second, the glass will shatter. We treat silence like a hostile territory, a barren wasteland where our deepest regrets, unlived dreams, and quiet griefs lie in wait, ready to ambush us the moment our guard slips. Consider the mornings. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the cold floor, your hand instinctively fumbles for the screen. You inject a dose of digital caffeine directly into your brain, letting a stream of strangers dictate the emotional tone of your entire day. Why? Because the alternative is too terrifying. The alternative is listening to the quiet whisper of your own pulse reminding you of the time passing, the choices unmade, the affection withheld, the apologies never spoken. It is much easier to carry a mountain of unspoken sorrow when you are sprinting. When you stop, the sheer weight of it threatens to crush your spine. You have become an expert at the functional numbness that passes for adulthood. You function, you pay the bills, you smile on Zoom calls, you nod in meetings. But underneath that polished veneer is a profound, aching hollowness, a sense that you are merely haunting your own life rather than living it. The mind, left to its own devices in the quiet, turns into a hall of mirrors. Every mistake you made 5 years ago is projected in high definition on the bedroom wall. Every road not taken whispers its what-ifs into your ears. You remember the friendships that slowly dissolved into polite text messages, the ambitions you traded for a steady paycheck, the parts of your soul you bartered away just to feel safe and accepted. You look at your hands and wonder what they were actually meant to build, because right now, they only seem capable of holding things together by a thread. The overthinking is not a malfunction, it is a desperate attempt by your psyche to solve a puzzle you refuse to name. It is the sound of a prisoner rattling the bars of a cage they built themselves, brick by carefully constructed brick. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor, whispering to each other about how busy we are, as if constant motion could validate our right to exist. But busyness is often just a socially acceptable form of self-harm. It is an anesthesia we administer to ourselves to avoid the sharp, clean pain of self-reflection. We are afraid that if we stop moving, we will realize we are heading in the wrong direction. We are terrified that beneath the layers of performance, ambition, and anxiety, there is nothing left, just an echo chamber of hollow echoes and deferred desires. So we keep running. We turn up the car radio, we schedule back-to-back social commitments, we pick fights over trivial matters just to feel a spark of artificial intensity, anything to keep the silence at bay. Yet, the silence is patient. It does not argue, it does not judge, and it does not go away. It waits in the spaces between words, in the pause at the end of a long workday, in the quiet Sunday afternoons when the rest of the world seems to be resting in pairs while you sit alone with your thoughts. It is the shadow cast by every ambition, the tax we pay for living inside our own heads. And tonight, the armor has finally cracked beyond repair. The questions are no longer whispering, they are echoing off the walls, demanding an audience you can no longer deny. You stare into the dark, realizing that the hardest person to lie to is the one you meet when the lights finally go out. There is no sudden epiphany waiting at the end of this dark corridor. There is no magical formula or 5-step morning routine that will instantly dissolve the heavy fog of years spent running from yourself. Sometimes, healing does not look like a breakthrough, it looks like surrender. It looks like sitting squarely in the wreckage of your own thoughts and refusing to look away, even when the view makes you sick to your stomach. You realize that the enemy was never the silence itself, nor was it the loneliness that came with it. The enemy was the relentless, exhausting narrative you told yourself to justify the escape. You are tired because you have been fighting a war against your own reality, holding back a tide with your bare hands. And as the night deepens, you finally let your arms drop, watching the dark rush in, not to drown you, but simply to let you rest. We run all day from the noise of the world, only to hide from the silence within.